Hello and welcome to episode 683 of the official EstablishTheRun.com podcast. My name is Adam Levitan. I am one of the co-founders here at ETR, and we are coming off of a 2023 is in the books kind of week. Yes, that's right. The end of fantasy football season long and best ball season coincided with the end of the calendar year Sunday. Hope it was a great New Year's. For all of you, allow me to be the last to wish you a very happy New Year. Few thoughts as the best ball season wraps up. First of all, for me on results, hashtag no one cares, I know, but I was in for roughly 7,700 in best ball this year across all sites, all contests, cashed for roughly 15,500. So it was certainly a solid year for me. Can't complain. Not as good as last year, but still a good result considering I didn't do well at all in high stakes. Didn't get beyond a min cash in any of the 250s on Underdog, 333s on DraftKings. I bricked out 555s on DraftKings, only got a min cash. 250 on Drafters, only got a min cash. So to kind of escape with a really solid ROI, despite all that, I feel good about. Biggest scores for me were in the DraftKings $100 3 max. Got fifth place there for 7,500. Also in the $15 single entry on DraftKings, got third place there for 4K. I mean, just getting to finals in best ball is hard. So to get two teams through to the finals on 77 teams drafted, way over expectation, and really good result. I want to talk about a few other best ball topics. So a hot topic during best ball drafting season was week 17 correlation. Just how important is it? Should people be focused on it? We did a podcast, me, Leone, Herzig, over the summer, where we tried to do a pyramid of priorities while doing a best ball draft. You guys can go back and listen, but my take was week 17 correlation, aka trying to get players on opposite sides of the same game in week 17, was undoubtedly plus EV, but still more near the bottom of my priorities when doing a best ball draft. Now, part of that is me personally, and where I think my personal edge is. If you're playing these massive lottos, tens and hundreds of thousands of entries with a huge number of people in the finals, yeah, getting an extra edge in EV from having week 17 correlation, it means a lot. It undoubtedly matters. And we saw that play out in week 17. CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown went at the 1-2 turn so often in best ball drafts. And yeah, they correlated massively. I mean, you could just see it on Saturday night. And Njoku and Breece Hall, Devontae Adams and Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane and Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's clear that it helps. But of course, that doesn't mean that it hits or helps every time. It means you're giving yourself a little bit more of an edge. The Eagles stuff was a dud. Surprisingly to me, the Eagles stuff was a dud, even though James Conner did well. I think some people tried to correlate Marquise Brown with Eagles stuff or Trey McBride with Eagles stuff, and that didn't hit, really. Marquise Brown, of course, didn't play. But I think thoughtful people see the idea here. They get it. I would just encourage people when you're thinking about week 17, if you can't handle it during your draft, if you think you're reaching too much, don't worry about it too much. But I think, again, thoughtful people see the idea here, especially if you're playing in large fields finals. The real reason that I don't worry too much about week 17 correlation when doing best ball drafts is because I'm mostly playing smaller field stuff. When I was fortunate to win the 333 in 2022, the final was just 6 entries. The 2 finals I was in this season were 20 entries and 9 entries. In field sizes like that, I'm just not going to worry about week 17 correlation. What I am worried about, stacking is still a massive priority for me. One of my teams had a Stafford double, Stafford, Puka, Cup. The other one had a Ravens double, Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely. Another reason I don't worry too much about week 17 correlation in the stuff I play is because I think my personal edge is player takes. And that is not everyone's edge. But for me personally, I grind this stuff so hard, the news and the usage and the players and the roles of the third running back or the third tight end or the fourth wide receiver. I think that's where I win. And so just speaking to player takes, I had Puka Nakua on both of my teams that made the finals. I started taking him and Tutu Atwell a ton once the Cooper Cup ankle thing popped up in August. I thought Van Jefferson was just total dust. I had Sam Howell on both of my teams that made the finals. Loved him as someone with mobility and good weapons. Had a ton of Brees Hall in zero-ish running back builds. Took Trey McBride in round 19-20 a ton. Took Kyron as a bet against Cam Akers. Took zero Cam Akers. Took a decent amount of Kyron. Now, of course, I had a ton of player takes that missed. I mean, way more. Like, those were the hits. I had a ton of player takes that missed, of course. I had an insane amount of Marvin Mims and Zach Charbonnet and Desmond Ritter. But in these best ball contests, and especially in season-long formats, the big hits far outweigh the misses. That's why I'm not taking, fourth tight end or fourth quarterback very often. I want swings at huge hits like Kyron, McBride, Puka, likely if Andrews goes down, etc. A couple other quick best ball thoughts. I didn't mention roster structure, but at this point, that's just table stakes at best ball. You're dead if you don't get just simple roster construction strategy in best ball. One of my teams that made the final, I took Lamar Jackson. I think it was end of round 3 or early round 4. Only took one other quarterback, and it was very late, Sam Howell, even though it was 20-round draft. And that allowed me some late round flyers on guys like Kyron and Puka. So just understanding, hey, Lamar, third or fourth round pick, I'm just going to bet on him. I'll take Sam Howell late as my other quarterback, and that's it at quarterback. Just got to make a big bet on Lamar. So we have a ton of content on the site about optimal roster construction for best ball. We will resurface all of that before drafts get going in 2024. Oh, one other thought. I think in part thanks to Underdog getting so popular and best ball kind of hitting the mainstream a bit this season, people are super frustrated that they had these insane teams and didn't turn $25 into $3 million, which is, zooming out is obviously an absurd thing to think. But yeah, I just always encourage everyone to know what they're getting into when they sign up to play any contest, but especially a large field contest. You are really, really, really unlikely to realize your equity in Best Ball Mania or the DraftKings Millionaire. And that's fine. If you understand that, and maybe you're printing some theoretical EV, but it could take hundreds of lifetimes to realize that EV, as long as you realize that, that's great. But if you need actual dollars to live, well, that's why I personally like to play the smaller field stuff and some of the higher stakes stuff. I need fucking money, man, not Sklansky bucks. Sounds crazy. I know, but so again, I just don't want people to get tilted or frustrated when they play the Million DFS or Best Ball Mania and don't have a great result. Doesn't mean you suck. Doesn't mean it's not fun or it's dumb or it's not fair or anything like that. It's just the cold, hard facts of lottery style contests. Speaking of cold, hard facts, ton of people sent me questions about taxes over the last week or so. Way more questions about taxes than usual. Figured I'd just address here quickly. Bottom line, if you win $600 or more on a DFS site in a calendar year, you will be getting a 1099 from that DFS site. Note, this has nothing to do with withdrawing or not. You are taxed on your winnings, not transactions. Obviously, that 1099 you get is also sent to the IRS. You have to pay on it or address it in some way. Don't fuck around and end up like Wesley Snipes. It's just not worth it. Obviously paying taxes sucks, but I try to take it in stride and let it be a sign of a good year. Now, in terms of mitigating that 1099 you get with write-offs or expenses such as an ETR subscription, shout out to us. That's something you'll have to talk to your CPA about. In case you guys weren't aware, I'm not a CPA. In terms of best ball and taxes, it is a bit confusing because the buy-ins were in 2023, but the big payouts for the finals happened on January 1, 2024. So again, that's certainly something to address with a real accountant. All right, last thing before I get into the listener questions. How about a New Year's present from me to you? Some of you may remember that before the season, a listener to the podcast sent in, he DM'd me on Discord, his Silva impersonation, his Evan Silva impersonation. And it was so incredible. Yes, I went for 5 so's there because it was so good. And we put it out on Twitter, but I'm sure some of you didn't hear it or see it on Twitter. So I just want to play it now as a gift to you. Producer Luke, play the Silva impersonation from listener Joey Rudman.
Yo, can you guys hear me? I'm on my way back from a Cubs game. They won 7-4, and I'm going to be doing some capitulating here because Wrigley did some fireworks after the game, and it was awesome. I talked to Jordan Run-On, reporter with the Giants, and Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. We did a 3-way, not the kind Levitan dreams about, not the kind Leone doesn't even know about, but a 3-way pizza lunch date at Pequod's in Chicago, okay? And I'm fully out on the Giants pass catchers, all 37 of them. I've gotten about 225 best ball drafts under my belt at this point, and I'm not getting any of them. But a wide receiver core I am getting, okay, are the Seahawks. I've got DK Metcalf, 347 spots above ADP, and every year we continue to bet on Tyler Lockett. We're going to keep doing that. Even Geno I have in his own tier. We're going to be really high on the Seahawks this year, and there's nothing Leone and the spreadsheet socialists can do about that, all right? And I heard, this kid Joey whatever do this impression of me, and it's kind of weird, but it's it's pretty good, all right? It's pretty good.
I mean, my God, man, it takes legit incredible talent to be able to do what Joey did there in that 2-minute clip. I mean, everything, the cadence, the voice, the mannerisms, and then also to be able to do the actual content that he says being like almost something Silva would actually say, but exaggerated. I mean, I think I've listened to that at least 200 times and I am just deceased every time. So there it is. Happy New Year. Shout out to Joey Rudman, a true talent among us. All right. Need to get to listener questions, but before I do, wanted to let you know the 2024 golf season gets underway this week. Lock for the first event of the season out in Hawaii is early Thursday morning. If you're interested in playing DFS golf, we have annual, monthly, and weekly subscription options available. Our projections for golf are powered by Rufus Peabody, inarguably one of the most successful golf bettors of the last decade. Our ownership projections are the best in the industry by a wide margin. Yes, we can track that. I personally love playing DFS golf, maybe my favorite DFS sport. It's so fun. I do the show with Cody and Tom Peabody each week. Rufus and Peter are also in the mix from time to time, especially majors. Can check out details in the golf tab on establishthedrun.com. Have some details there and an FAQ content schedule that you should check out. All right. Enough is enough. It is time for everyone's favorite portion of the program, the listener questions. Producer Luke, hit the theme music. All right, clearing out the inbox here. Question 1 from Mike V. He says, knowing your love for the game of tennis, what are your thoughts on the extreme popularity of pickleball? Are you a fan, or do you find it to be a cheap tennis/ping pong ripoff? Man, I have so many takes here on the pickleball. I'll try to keep this relatively short. First of all, I get it. I get it on pickleball. When you're older, you can't move that well. You're looking for a social thing that keeps you active. Pickle is awesome. If you're playing doubles pickleball, you really don't have to move that much. Optimal strategy is often these little dinks back and forth that land just in front of the net as soft as possible. I get it. But at this point in my life, pickleball is just not for me. When I play sports, I want to rip my opponent's heart out. I want to outcompete. I want to play so hard I can barely breathe, feel exhausted when I'm done. One, because I love to compete, but two, because I'm really looking to get, hard exercise slash cardio. Now, when I'm older and I can't play like that anymore, I'll be devastated. I'll be depressed. But that's when I'll take up these retirement games like golf and pickleball. So again, I get the whole pickleball thing. It's just not for me right now. Definitely when I'm older. And by the way, I don't think pickleball is a fad at all. I actually briefly looked into starting an indoor pickleball club, bar, grill, kids center, kind of in the town where I live. I just thought the addressable market is literally everyone. Like my kids love pickleball and my parents love pickleball and everyone in between loves pickleball. I don't think it's going away. I thought the idea in my neighborhood would crush, but I realized I know nothing about starting an IRL, in real life business. So I gave it up. I will say that I'm sad for tennis. I think there is some threat that pickleball eventually kills tennis. At my gym, they already turned one tennis court into 4 pickleball courts. That's happening at gyms and tennis clubs and public tennis courts all over the country at a really rapid rate. And even at the professional level, I mean, Jack Sock was one of my favorite tennis players to watch when he was coming up. Just big hitting, young American, absurdly massive forehand, crushed the ball, moved well. Tennis game fell apart a bit. And now he's turned into a pickleball pro, just fucking dinking back and forth. I mean, it's hard to watch. But yeah, look, if you're under 50 years old, don't let me see you playing doubles pickleball. I will think less of you, If you're going to play, at least play singles like some version of an alpha. Question 2 from Philip. I cannot share a drink from the same glass with my wife or anyone else. I have trouble with restaurants that have glass drinking ware. Is this the norm? It's not the norm, Philip, but I get it. Believe me, I've thought about bringing paper cups and silverware to a restaurant. I certainly don't trust their dishwashing process to get the previous customers' disgusting bacteria-filled mouth off it before I put my mouth on it. I'm not that bad though, Philip. I'm fine in restaurants. Where you lose me, Philip, is the wife thing. I mean, presumably you are putting your tongue on her tongue in the midst of passion. Perhaps you're putting your tongue other places. I mean, who knows? And then you're not going to share a glass of water with her. I mean, there's some real inconsistency there, brother. You might really need to seek therapy. Question 3 from KBM says, Adam, I have a 1.5-year-old boy. The second kid conversation has started. Eileen staying at 1, wife wants 2. What was your thought process when deciding to have more than 1? Yeah, great question, KBM. I think I answered something like this a few years ago, and my take has changed. I think a lot of times in life, in all aspects of life, decisions come down to short-term versus long-term view. It just happens constantly. Should I eat this greasy cheeseburger and fries and milkshake now? It's really good short term, tastes so good. Long term, it's undoubtedly bad for my health, right? So like there's always decisions like that. And it happens all the time in business too. Just to use ETR as an example, we could make an insane amount of short-term money if we sold picks in shit that we don't know about. If we went out and said, we're the best in the world at beating NFL sides or college football sides or tennis sides or whatever, come buy our picks package. A lot of people trust us, so they would buy it. But they'd quickly see that we don't have an edge on NFL sides or whatever, and we'd lose trust. And long term, it would be a disaster. And in this space, I just see this is what everyone is doing. You go on Twitter or really any social media anywhere, and all you see is clowns saying how much they win betting on sports. All you see is that they've won 60 of their last 80 prize picks and underdog plays. They're just shilling their picks. I bet a shitload of my personal money that they are all losing and don't have any edge. As usual in gambling, the loudest people in the room are almost always the dumbest. So these people know deep down they aren't winning, they aren't helping people. They're effectively trading short-term gains and they're making money. They're making short-term gains. But they're trading short-term gains in exchange for pissing away any long-term value they might be able to generate. Obviously, we would never sell anything we weren't really confident or knew was winning. I would just never be able to sleep. But generally, Yeah, I always think that it's best to have the longest view in the room, to quote the great Sam Hinkie Manifesto, aka my Bible. Now, getting back to the question for kids, look, man, babies and me just don't see eye to eye. They're just not for me. Even my own kids, when they were newborn to maybe 3.5 years old, I actually think I was clinically depressed. I just hated my life so much. Now they are almost 9 and almost 6. They are legit the light of my life, like by far, just the best ages. I think age 5 to 12, I suspect, is just the stone cold nuts for kids. Now, in terms of having two, yeah, it's a big decision. I don't think there's a right answer. I was an only child. That's probably why I'm so deranged. One thing that we've gotten really lucky with our kids is that they genuinely like/love each other. Having a second kid was a gift for them, not for us. They just hang out 24/7. They play together all the time. I mean, they're so nice to each other. In our house in Philly, they shared a tiny room together. When we moved out to Denver, they each got their own room, but they still sleep in the same bed together in one of their rooms. I mean, I don't know how standard this is to happen with siblings, but yeah, them just having each other for their whole life, it's an incredible feeling to give them that. And I think that I didn't weight that enough when I was thinking about having a second kid. So while I was fucking miserable and depressed and angry and irritable when they were both really young, and it was really hard in the relationship between me and my wife, now I'm glad we did it. I'm not saying everyone should. I was just trying to describe my experience. Hope that helps. KBM. Question 4, last one we're going to do here today, from Kinseth, says, I've recently had an interview for a job that restrictions would prevent me from gambling, including DFS, due to industry regulations. Let's say an NFL team came calling to you and offered you a dream position. Would you take it if it meant no longer being able to play NFL DFS? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Kinseth. What is a dream position in the NFL? I mean, Jesus, how much should the Lions pay someone? Not me, but someone way smarter than me. How much should the Lions pay someone to be in Dan Campbell's ear for in game decisions? I mean, holy fuck. First, 23 seconds left. You don't even 100% win the game if you get the 2-point conversion. And then you get the bullshit penalty. You go on tilt and you go for 2 from the 7-yard line. I mean, you're probably like, I don't know, 15, 20, 25% to make it from there. I mean, it has to be one of the most egregious decisions ever. And I actually think Dan Campbell is probably a really good leader of men, a good coach, a good football guy. The Lions, though, are worth billions of dollars. Their business is worth billions of dollars. Hire some nerd to get in Dan Campbell's ear and tell him you have to kick it here, or you have to go for it there, whatever. You have to kick a field goal here. And that's a cool job, I guess, but I wouldn't want to do it. And I'm not even the person for it. You need someone way smarter than me. I think I'd probably enjoy working on optimizing roster building in a salary cap environment. I find that stuff interesting, but I don't know if that's a dream job per se. So, yeah, I think I'll pass, Kinseth. Thanks for the offer, though. I will continue to attempt to turn $10 into $18 in NFL head-to-heads. Thank you very much. All right, that is going to do it for this week's solo pod. We'll be back with Silva for Team by Team later tonight. You can find that show on our YouTube as well. If you are out of your season-long league, and obviously best ball is over, and you want to try DFS, we do have 1 week or 1 month options available on the subscribe page. We are on a normal content schedule for DFS through the Super Bowl. For producer Luke, for Jerry, the most beautiful beast in the world, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.